Okay, good afternoon. Buenas tardes a todos. I'd like to get started with the Finance and Personnel Committee this Monday, August 4th, 2025 at 5:30. We'll start with roll call. Mayra Reyes,
Juan Cifuentes,
Vania Valencia.
Ballard,
Michael Engel.
Bob Elverson.
thank you. And we'll move on to public comments.
none.
Thank you. There's none tonight. And moving on to informational items with Mr. Engel,
Sure.
Dr. Engel.
So this evening we have a list of donations here. We have two of them. We have 800 backpacks that are filled with school supplies from the Ascendant Charitable Foundation for the district. We also received a $2,000 from the Serve and Return Chicago through the Midtown Athletic Club. And this is for girls tennis at East High. Any questions on the donations?
No questions.
I did not.
But do we ever send like a thank you card? or
Absolutely.
something?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, when it goes full board, we usually send it out after it goes full board for acceptance of said donation. So I send something out from our office that comes out that says thank you. So next we have the monthly financials. There are the June financials in there. So you'll have the revenue, the expenses, and fund balances there, as long as the June payroll report for the month of June, which includes all the summer payouts for July and August. That's in there. The next part, we have any questions on any of that?
I did not.
Okay. So the next section is item number 5. It's the FY26 budget update. And there's 5 files that are attached, including the memo, presentation, ISB 5036 budget, the resolution, which will be going for full board this tonight for vote, and the legal posting that we'll be putting in the paper once said vote has taken place. We'll put it in there for 30 days, giving everybody notice. All right, we can go through the presentation. Thank you, guys. So there's a couple updates. I'll start in the beginning. All right, next slide. So this is the FY26 tentative budget. We'll go through the timeline one more time. So we're actually at the August 4th. So tonight we're going to have the resolution to adopt the FY26 tentative budget. After tonight's meeting, we're going to post the legal ad and also putting the budget on public display. So we'll actually have a binder and up on our district's website as well. Coming up on September the 15th, we'll have the Board of Education meeting for a public hearing for that night. And we are asking the Board of Education to approve the budget that evening. Next slide. So the tentative budget assumptions. So these are all the assumptions. There's one big one that has changed, which I will get to in a moment. But as you can see, for FY26, we're still assuming the CPPRT is going to be decreasing approximately 20%. Interest rates are still at 4%. Categoricals will decrease by 3%, and we're receiving all 4 state categorical payments. And the biggest notice from last time to this time is the rollovers have been calculated and included for the FY26. So we actually have a bunch of actuals in there now for FY26. Evidence-based, when we had released this, was not released, but it is now released. It's in there for FY26. And federal funding still at this point is still down by about $2 million. Salaries on average are increased by 3.75. Benefits are up by 8%. Purchase services by 3%. Transportation costs are up across the board by approximately 4%. Supplies, materials will remain flat, and utility costs are contracted. So based upon usage, if we have a colder winter, obviously more therms, but those are contracted out through FY27.
Dr. Engel, real quick, could you go back to that slide for me?
Sure.
When you go down to the utility costs, could you talk a little bit about the program that we're potentially looking at right now, working with Train a little bit to kind of help with some of the utility costs?
Sure. So with some of the HVAC equipment through Train, there's a program with ComEd to go back and to look at, I'm going to call it fine tuning exactly the energy efficiency of the new Train equipment and everything else to actually help. I think their terms were anywhere from 20 to 25 kind of % savings based upon some slight inputs, like let's say hypothetically running at 71 degrees versus 72 degrees, or running at slight variances will save, obviously, be much more energy efficient, and therefore in turn save the district energy usage for the upcoming years. I'm not going to call it commissioning because the commissioning's already been done, but the fine tuning of said equipment, if you will. So, and we are definitely doing that for this year as well. So that I'm hoping with that being done and kind of really monitoring the budget and really kind of keep in mind, this is a document at a best guess in time currently right now with the information that we have. With this roadmap and with this path going forward, we will run as efficiently as we possibly can. for
And we
FY
know that
26.
it kind of fluctuates throughout the year at times.
Absolutely. There'll
Yeah.
be ebb and flows for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so this is the revenue assumptions by fund. Not much has really changed here. If you look at the education fund, you can see the revenue is still the largest there at 75.7% at just under 200 million. Operations and maintenance at just under shy of 21 million. Debt service at 13.9, and these are now actual numbers. We ended up updating the interest and principal along with the bond subsidies as well. So they are actuals in there now. They're no longer the best guesstimates, if you will. Transportation costs are in there, or revenues are in there. IMRF and Social Security is in there as well. Capital projects at 5 million at 1.9% is in there. Working cash at 50,000, tort at $50, and fire prevention and health life safety at $1,750 for a grand total of $263,111,828. The next slide breaks it down. As you can see, a vast majority, 76% of our budget's coming out of the ed fund, followed by operations and maintenance and debt service. So transportation is the third largest technically after debt service, and you're looking at $17.97 million there. Okay. This one changed slightly. The local funding went up a little bit, so you can see it makes up 22.1%. Federal funding is a lot more. You'll notice it's actually to the dollar now. It's instead of ending in 00, it's to the point. So 9.6% is now made up in federal, and then $179.8 million in state funding being our major source of revenue at 68.3%. Here's the breakdown of expense by fund. Again, the largest fund, and we had to, as we're going through the budget as well, ended up balancing out the expenses to match the revenues. So you'll see some of the revenues were fine-tuned, meaning levies, or any type of taxes going in, CPPRT, also any type of interest earnings and evidence base was used to help balance out each fund individually. So some funds that we were running a little bit, let's say a larger fund balance in, we didn't levy as much this year, and we're not allocating as much evidence-based funding in there because we have the fund can sustain itself for this year, and we're putting into the funds that really need it. So debt service again to the penny at 13,807,795. Transportation at just shy of $18 million. Social Security at 6.3 million. Working capital projects at 5 million for a grand total of 263,068,811. Very similar to before, our largest expense by fund is still the education fund at 76%, followed by O&M, and then debt service and transportation there. And if you go at looking at the objects here, so objects are broken out by salary, benefits, purchase services, and across the board, you have supplies, materials, capital outlay, other objects, including debt service, and then non-capital outlay. So as you would imagine, salaries and benefits, you're almost talking 65% of our entire budget is made up of salary and benefits. Purchase services at just over 19%, supplies and materials at 5.6%, capital outlay at 2.4%, and other objects including special education and debt service at 7.9%. Non-capital outlay at 1.2 million, for a grand total, like I said, 263,068,811. Here it is visually broken down. As you can see, 2/3 of the pie is salary and benefits there. So in summary, revenues at 263 million, expenses at 263 million, and right now we are $243,000. I would call it balanced at this point. Any questions?
No question. I mean, well, actually, one thing
Sure.
with regard to some of the like HVAC units that
Mhm.
we've been replacing and things like that. I know we always put money, like 5% or something like that for any fluctuation of prices. I mean, some of that can also, if we don't spend that extra 5%, then
That it can come back. The contingency is what you're
Yeah,
what you're
there you
speaking
go.
of, for
Thank you.
sure. No, absolutely. And that's in capital projects so that we end up doing. So all the capital projects that we have, any type of open POs or any type of carryover from 25 into 26, they're all accounted for. But you're absolutely right. There could be leftover money that would come back to the district as well, for sure.
'Cause I think we also budgeted money for some of the tariffs, right? And some of that stuff or no?
Correct.
Okay,
For the construction projects.
right,
Yeah.
right, okay.
Mhm. Absolutely. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, everybody.
Over to Dr. Ballard now for updates on board policy.
Thank you.
So in your packet, you have a number of press policies that are there for your first review. Just a quick summary about these policies that you have in front of you, which is noted in your memorandum. Most of these, in fact, all of these, I would tell you, just simply have either minor language, formatting, or legal reference changes as part of our 5-year review. Any questions regarding policies?
I did not have any.
Okay. The next item that I would like to bring to your attention, you have a memo that was presented at the curriculum board last week, but we did want to bring it through the Finance and Personnel Committee so that we have your consensus and approval. There was a presentation at that time related to the division chair of guidance role at the high school. This role was originally created 3 years ago to provide administrative support for the counseling department, which replaced a previous model where a counselor with a reduced caseload served as the department manager. Now, the person who had last served in that role has been promoted to our director of college and career readiness, and we have not been able to find a suitable replacement for the upcoming school year. It is the recommendation at this time that we move forward to move back to the model temporarily to appoint a counseling department manager who would take on oversight responsibilities with a smaller caseload, with additional per diem days, but without administrative duties such as evaluations. This would allow us to continue to provide support for our students' college and career readiness, benefit the community, and result in a, for this year, cost savings for the school district. Any questions?
Is lower price than the previous salary?
We would not be looking to fill that with an administrative person
Okay.
at this time. So we would look at having an additional counselor, and that would result in a cost savings because it would essentially be reworking that person's duty with some additional per diem days, and they would have an addition, like a lower
Understood.
caseload, so they could help out and oversee some of the other duties. They just
Okay.
wouldn't have the administrative tasks.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Ballard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we're not going to move forward with this until our board meeting on August 18th. But Ms. Nikita Stewart's going to help us out in the interim to make sure we have all of our parameters covered there, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ballard. And with that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 5:43 PM. Thank you.